My eyes, is here now.
Known for its relaxed way of life, New Zealand's long been a draw for Brits seeking a new life. Being the same size as the UK, but with a fraction of the population, only adds to the country's appeal. But reality doesn't always meet expectations. Many expats return home, giving up on their dream. In 2012, the Fitzpatrick family faced a major dilemma. After spending a week experiencing the reality of life in New Zealand, they'd have to choose between staying in the UK or making a move down under for good. Today, we'll find out where the Fitzpatricks now call home. 2 years ago, the family travelled over 12,000 miles for their trial week. After 23 hours in the air, they finally reached Auckland. And it seemed they'd taken the travelling in their stride.
The journey wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, the flight here was fantastic. Don't know what all the fuss was about. Could do that again tomorrow.
Was that a hint of sarcasm? One member of the family begged to differ.
Really, really long and really, really boring.
Home for the Fitzpatricks was the village of Twicker near Glasgow. Beth, a florist, and Billy, a prison officer, lived with their 2 boys, Paul, then aged 9, and Lucas, who was then 2. The village had been Beth's home for most of her life, but Billy had an itch that just wouldn't go away. Years previously, he'd turned down the chance to work overseas.
I've regretted it ever since, if I'm being honest. And over the years, Beth and I have been together. It's always been at the back of my mind. And I've bugged her. Every now and again, I'll mention it and she'll say, no, it's not happening.
Beth, though, had never been taken by the idea of emigrating and leaving her family behind.
Billy's been looking to immigrate now for probably, I would say about 12 years. And I was always of a mind that it wasn't for me. And I used to say, not while my gran's here. And unfortunately, she passed away 10 years ago. And then he's still going on. And I said, no, not while my mum and dad's here. But, you know, since we've lost my dad, it's put a lot of things into perspective. So I think now maybe it's time to follow his dream now.
In fact, Beth's dad had encouraged Billy, having always wanted to move down under himself.
One thing our dad always said to me was that he regretted it, not doing it when he had the chance. But he told me not ever to regret. He said, just do it, go for it. If you've got the chance, go for it. He says, don't worry about us, we'll be fine. And I think that's where we are now. We're looking to the future, aren't we, the way your dad was doing at the time for you guys.
Billy was hoping the country could offer their children a better future.
We can pretty much settle anywhere. I could live in a cardboard box in a hard shoulder of the M8 if I had to. But as long as my boys are safe and well, and they get all the opportunities that I want them to have that I never had, then that's important to me.
And the couple both believed the wildlife and lifestyle in New Zealand would particularly benefit Paul.
He's been dubbed Nature Boy since he could walk. The prospects of Paul having a more outdoor lifestyle over there appeal to me greatly.
But any future in New Zealand would come at a very high price.
I think the hardest part will be leaving Beth's mum. She's a massive part of our lives. You know, a massive part of the kids' lives, and I think that's going to be really, really tough. Really tough.
I'm a wee bit nervous about moving to New Zealand because I won't be able to, like, every Friday stop for a break and go to my granny's.
As I say, that's the biggest part of my life is my grandkids. Paul comes for lunch for school at lunchtime. Then he comes up at home time.
There was one solution to this potential heartache, but it looked like a distant possibility.
Leaving my mum is going to be the hardest part of the move for us, but we've spoken to my mum at length and asked her to come with us. She's a bit unsure, I think is the best words. I don't think she realises just how hard it's going to be leaving the boys. not having the boys. And I think she'll really struggle with that.
The Fitzpatricks faced a painful dilemma. While Billy believed New Zealand would offer his family a better life, moving would see Beth separated from the mum she loved. The family chose to visit Auckland for their trial week. The city offers plenty of work and lifestyle opportunities, but property prices can be high. Home for the family's week was the St Heliers Bay area, and this two-bedroom house offered a good base for exploring Auckland.
Wow!
What does that say?
Welcome to New Zealand Fitzpatrick family.
It's nice,
I
isn't
think they
it?
knew we were coming here.
The spot was a perfect start for Billy, and he was quick to point out why.
I mean, if we were sat out in our back garden just now on a bench similar to this, which we've got, would it be like this? Would it be as quiet as this? Would you smell the sea air? Would you have sunshine like this?
Billy seemed to have entranced Beth, but she knew it wasn't just her he had to convince to emigrate.
My mum is one of the most important people in all of our lives. If my mum turned round to us and said, I really don't want you to go, then I think it would make the decision very, very difficult for us. And I would be left in a quandary. I would be really stuck. I wouldn't know what to do.
Back in the UK, Beth and Billy owned a 4-bedroom house in Twicker, a village near Glasgow, and it was a house they'd completely transformed.
This house has been a labour of love. It's been an adventure.
Having been bitten by the DIY bug, the couple were looking to do the same in New Zealand.
Similar to what we've got, in its own plot, 3-4 bedrooms, needing quite a bit of work, because I quite enjoy getting my hands dirty.
The family had a budget of £200,000 for a house. To give them an idea of the cost of homes down under, we lined up 3 properties for them to view, based on their ideal home and what they could afford. The family's first stop was in Avondale. Close to the city centre, the area has countryside and national parks nearby, which should have suited everyone. This 3-bedroom house was on a good-sized plot and needed some renovation, which could have made it ideal for Beth and Billy.
Yeah, right round. I mean, that's a chunky-sized garden anyway.
What's the last one?
This is more like a project, isn't it? This is more the kind of style that we were looking for. Something we could get our teeth into.
The house maybe wasn't to Billy and Beth's taste, but as seasoned DIYers, they knew how to spot the potential in a property.
Take all this person's furniture out of the house.
Imagine the size of this room though, if you could
Just empty it.
leave, what, nothing?
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
Same again,
The
is
dining area.
dining kitchen.
Let's just take that away.
That's no structure. Thought I could take that down just now.
Beth and Billy took the house in their stride, and by the time they got outside, Billy was totally in his element.
Look at the size of this place, babe. From here. You took it from here to here. That would give you a massive footprint. And on the top, you would have a full-size balcony all the way around. When this wraps round here, if you brought it to here, so that could be like a private entrance for your mum. Fenced at that side. She'd still have her own separate kitchen. That wouldn't be that expensive, babe.
He'd got it all worked out, but what did Beth think? It was an ominous silence. Beth wasn't impressed by the views. And just to make matters worse, for someone used to the peace and quiet of the countryside, a train line at the bottom of the garden maybe wasn't a winning feature. But would the price make the property more appealing? The couple's budget was £200,000, and they had both seen some potential at first.
£207,000 or $420,000.
It was slightly over their budget.
Do you think that's negotiable? If that was negotiable, then I would certainly be interested in speaking to him.
No, the work doesn't faze me. But could you honestly live with the noise that train made on the way past?
That's
On
what
a
I'm
daily
trying.
basis?
Yeah, I could. I could.
No, well.
You've got to weigh up the pros and cons. You can't live anywhere where you've not got the potential for trains or cars or pylons.
I couldn't live
with a pylon out my living room window and a train line in the back garden.
So what you're saying is this a no?
The next house the family viewed was set in Papatoetoe, 12 miles from the city centre, but would it provide the peace and quiet Beth craved? The 3-bedroom house needed some work, but that shouldn't have been anything the Fitzpatricks couldn't handle. The boys were happy to leave viewing to Mum and Dad.
Quite a nice outside space.
Nice and protected and covered. Is that French doors as well?
Looks
Behind
like
you, somewhere.
I think it of that.
Sorry, I'm assuming that would open clean up.
Open out.
Billy was doing a good job selling this house, but would the inside appeal to Beth?
Nice corners.
Yeah, only thing missing is a ceiling those people. Could fix that.
We'd open that up so that you had all the natural daylight.
Think of the light they're losing.
I would want that window.
Airplane. How close to the airport are we?
We're going from bad to worse here, aren't we?
Planes, trains and pylons. It wasn't going well for Beth, but maybe finding the quiet countryside she wanted wasn't possible in a big city. Billy wasn't beaten easily though, and hoped space for Beth's mum would help change her mind.
Could this be the granny annex? The granny room? Separate access through that back door there?
I just don't think the house fits. The rooms don't fit. Not for what we need it for.
Yeah.
Nice try, Billy. Was there any chance the price would help sell this house to Beth?
£197,000. $399,000.
I think at that price it's a decent house for someone, but maybe just not for us.
No, I would agree with that.
Okay.
House hunting wasn't going well. However, there was one way of getting the perfect place for DIYers like Beth and Billy, having a house built from scratch. This 4-bedroom property was the show home for a design that the couple could have put in any location that suited their tastes. But did they like the modern style?
Oh, this is nice, isn't it?
Really nice.
Nice and bright.
Excellent.
I say like this. I like the windows.
It's like a family room. Yeah.
Like we bought you.
The modern look didn't seem to be a problem, and upstairs also made a good impression.
Wow, this is gorgeous.
Look.
Look at the window.
Oh,
Beautiful, isn't it?
you can see to the sky.
Come here, Mum.
What do you see over there? Look.
I can see the
What's
boats.
over there?
What's that?
What's over there?
The Fitzpatricks had taken to the style of this house. Now they needed to find a plot of land where they could build it. One option was Massey. On the northern outskirts of Auckland, it was close enough to the motorway to make it an easy drive to the city.
Welcome to Westgate.
The family were met by estate agent Janet Jones, who had several plots of land in the area.
Now, this is it. It's lovely fresh grass, beautiful sunshine. We've got the big motorway extended to Albany. We've got Auckland City. And it's one of the fastest growing areas in Auckland. It's a beautiful spot and it's a good area, it's a good location.
That all sounded promising. Had the Fitzpatricks found the ideal package?
Absolutely no way. No.
Not for you.
No, I couldn't live that close to pylons and that close to no way.
It was going from bad to even worse, and the location seemed to have put Beth off building a new house altogether. Would the price bring her back round? The house and garden they dreamt of could still have been affordable on the family's £200,000 budget, even if placed in a different location.
Well, moment of truth. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Okay.
At around £300,000 for the land and house, it looked like the option was blown out of the water.
For £300,000 I wouldn't be buying a house that would have motorway noise and pylons behind it, so
So it's a definite no now?
it's a complete no.
Definite no.
It's not even a consideration.
Okay.
It hadn't been a great end to the day, but overall, had the Fitzpatricks been swayed by Auckland properties? The first house was exactly the kind of project they'd want to take on, until Beth heard a train and spotted a pylon. The couple both saw the potential in the second house, but being on a flight path was far from ideal. And although everyone fell for the last house, the location was a letdown for Beth. So when it came to properties, which way did the Fitzpatricks vote?
Undecided.
New Zealand!
I'm afraid to say for what we've seen today, I'm not prepared to give up my house, to move to the houses here for the money that they want.
It had been a day of setbacks for Billy's dream of emigrating to New Zealand, but he wasn't beaten.
I think what we've seen is 20 minutes from everywhere. So I'd maybe like to push it out to half hour, 40 minutes and see what we can get. Be slightly more out into the countryside. I would hope then that the price might reflect that as well. And there might be more chance of us finding something more to our taste.
Back in the UK, Billy had worked as a prison officer for 16 years. And Beth as a florist for 17 years. The family's aim was for Billy to work in New Zealand while Beth stayed at home with the children until they settled. We arranged for Billy to visit Auckland prison to find out what his future could hold. His day got underway with a tour of the facilities with prison manager Neil Beals.
These guard towers are no longer manned by CCTV.
If Billy was to make his dream move a reality, getting the right role and salary would be crucial. After his tour, he sat down to talk shop with Neil.
If I were looking to get a job over here, what comparison would I have salary-wise to what I get in the UK?
The starting salary of a prison officer here is around about the 50, at the 50k mark. You'd start on the starting salary for a corrections officer, should that be the avenue that you go through.
It's a bit less than I am at the moment, but then I'm 17 years down the line. It's considerably more than the officers back in Scotland start on.
Yep.
It's a good few £1,000s more.
£25,000 would mean a £3,000 dip, but with his experience, Billy could progress quickly. Which just left one crucial question.
So, Neil, what are the job opportunities for someone like me in Auckland?
In our region alone, we're looking at 100 vacancies at the moment as we sit here today. Everything you've told me today indicates to me that you're the kind of person that we would like to talk to.
That was great news. Billy would be in demand, even if it meant having to take a pay cut. But had he seen enough to consider restarting his career in New Zealand?
Based on the meeting I had today, my vote goes to New Zealand. The opportunities that I would have for progression and the things that I do that I seem interested in, it's an absolute no-brainer for me.
Billy had been taken by what he'd heard and was keen to share the news with Beth.
Hello! Hi! Was it what you expected?
It was more than I expected. I actually thought for a minute the guy was going to give me a set of keys and say, let's go.
Would we be able to survive on your salary alone if we had to come here?
From what he's told me, based on what I am back home, yeah, there wouldn't be really that much of a change between the UK and New Zealand, so yeah, it would be good,
Billy's job prospects had him excited, but could the couple afford to move? They'd bought their UK home as a project for £140,000 and spent years renovating it. 3 years previously, it had been valued at £270,000, but the property market had changed dramatically since. We sent round to estate agents to give us their valuations.
It's lovely. Really nice outlook from this room, actually.
Looks really dark.
Okay, quite dark. It's very different. You know, it's almost a modern kitchen. Quite well fitted.
It's a good sized master bedroom, quite generous proportions. A lovely big window as well.
Okay, this is a great big room. This is exactly what you'd like to see in, I think, any family home.
In terms of the present value, I would value the property in the range of 220 to 230,000. I would recommend putting it on the market at offers in the region of 229.
So my expectation on market value, I'd expect the surveyor to value the property around the £250,000 mark. That being the case, with a supporting home report valuation, we would recommend an asking price of offers in excess of £235,000.
It was quite a drop from the previous £270,000 valuation.
Overall, is it what we expected?
I think it's what we expected, but not what we wanted to hear.
I think it's the realism of it, of what the market's doing.
The lower valuation meant a possible hole in the couple's finances. Billy's only hope was that there would be a positive outcome when calculating the family's living costs down under.
One woman's haircut, one man's haircut.
So we could make a saving there.
2, so it's the same.
132, so £59. It's the same. If you added those three, it'd probably come out roughly about the same.
I don't think there's a massive difference between the two.
The couple wouldn't be much worse off, but there was one big gap in their finances yet to be considered. Initially, Beth wouldn't be working.
But when we think that we're coming over here with just me working, earning £1,530, our current outgoings would be £2,426, which is £900 short every month.
It doesn't make it feasible, really.
It's a bummer.
£900 a month was a massive shortfall. In one stroke, it looked like Billy's dream was over. Or was it?
I suppose the thing that's jumping in now for me is to try and convince your mum to come with us.
Oh, if my mum would come with us, then we'd be fine from day one, because I know she'd be there to help look after the kids round your shifts.
Which means it wouldn't be such an issue, you going out to work.
It was a good idea, but before trying to persuade Beth's mum, the couple had to be sure themselves. So how did they vote?
Based on the figures we've seen today, for the cost of living in both the UK and New Zealand, our votes goes to... Undecided.
UK.
What made you go for UK?
Believe me, I want a vote. New Zealand, with everything. And it's one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. To flip the flag that way. But it's just not doable just now.
Finances were a big step backwards for Billy. With so much at stake, the family needed to find out if New Zealand could offer the lifestyle they hoped for. With Paul passionate about nature, Beth, Billy and the boys headed to get close up with wildlife.
Did you see that? Did you see all those butterflies?
I think the kids are having a fabulous time today. They seem to be blending in. I think that they're really enjoying themselves, and the reality is beginning to set in of what life could be like.
The day had picked up everyone's spirits, but it wasn't all gentle fun. Luckily, nature-loving Paul didn't scare easily.
How cool was that, dude? Super cool.
After a day getting to grips with the wildlife, it was time to vote on lifestyle.
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
It was the first unanimous vote. The Fitzpatricks had really taken to the Auckland lifestyle.
I've liked Butterfly Creek because of all the butterflies you can see in the butterfly house, getting to touch baby crocodiles and seeing the giant ones.
But emotions were mixed.
Really sad because 2 days ago, when we were doing the flippy thing, the thing where we had to flip the cards, after that I was crying because I didn't know where I wanted to go, either come to stay here or go back home. So I'd love to make new friends here, but I really miss my friends and family back home.
Their day out had shown the Fitzpatricks everything they could gain from a move down under, but they also had to consider what they had to lose at home. Beth and Billy decided to watch messages from home together with the boys.
Hi guys, how's things out in New Zealand?
Hi, Billy, Beth, kids, hope you're having fun.
Beth has a lovely personality. She's very easygoing, absolutely fantastic. They're two kids in our life.
Well, I would say about Billy is why say it in 2 words when 500 would do.
Billy and Liz Dan are a good family. They love for each other.
got 2 boys, of which the 2 of them actually adore. They'll do anything for the kids, plus any of the family.
We can always imagine Paul when he's older, and it's the wee girl with the wee cardigan, the wee half-moon glasses, whereas Lucas will be coming in with the tattoos and the leather jacket.
Beth is one of my closest friends anyway, so, and you don't get many very close friends that you can, you know, just rely on.
The house is going to be funny because I'm not going to have the kids coming in every day. The same cheery faces that comes round the door that you're going to miss. But no, I don't regret that they're going. And I only hope that it works out for them.
He's always been there for me, and just now he's only maybe 15 minutes away in the car to the other side of the world. It's a big difference, big difference. Oh, he's my brother. He's everything to me.
Well, here's 4. Yous are over there. Hope you've enjoyed the last 2 weeks. But remember, this is for life, and go and enjoy it. Go and enjoy, pal. And remember, I'll only be a phone call away when yous are away. And I love yous to bits. But enjoy your new life out there.
Hello.
Come on now.
You'll see her again very soon, yeah?
You'll see her next week. Right.
Seeing messages from the people they love was a painful experience for everyone. It was now time to cast the last and most decisive vote. Had the taste of a new life convinced the family to leave everything in the UK?
Based on our entire week here in New Zealand, our final vote goes to... New Zealand! Well done, dude. Oh, oh.
Why did you pick New Zealand?
I picked New Zealand because I had a really good time.
What about you, Mrs. You?
I'm kind of surprised myself. And I think that being such a friendly, family-orientated place, I think it's a nice place to bring up the boys.
Dad, why did you choose New Zealand?
I suppose I'm the one that wanted to come here to begin with, wasn't I? You guys are the most important things to us. The lifestyle that we can have, I think we can make it work here. What do you think?
The Fitzpatricks had all been won over by their time in New Zealand. But did they actually go ahead and make the move? 2 years after we last saw them, where do Beth, Billy and the boys now call home? It's May 2014 and the Fitzpatricks are currently living in New Zealand. After years of trying to win his wife round, Billy was ecstatic when Beth finally agreed to make the move.
I was over the moon, absolutely over the moon, because I'd spent a decade trying to convince her that it was the right thing for us to do.
Beth had become convinced a better lifestyle awaited her family down under.
At the end of the trial week, I think we had realised just how family focused New Zealand is as a whole. People were very friendly, welcoming, and the boys enjoyed the great outdoors, being in and around nature. And I think by the end of the week, it was an easy decision.
But the move to the other side of the world would mean Beth having to come to terms with leaving her mum behind.
It wasn't a difficult decision. What was made difficult
Was leaving my mum.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a few very close family and friends that we miss, but leaving my mum, this is difficult.
Breaking the news to Beth's mum on the family's return from their trial week, however, was much easier than expected.
she put the kettle on, sat down and said, "OK, so when are you going?"
I don't think that she ever thought we would stay in Scotland. She knew deep down that it was best for the kids to make the move.
The Fitzpatricks began planning to emigrate. After their trial week, they'd stayed on in New Zealand, touring the North Island, where Billy made inquiries at prisons.
I had an interview in 2 of them, and I was again fortunate enough to be offered positions in both of them.
Billy accepted a job offer from a prison in Wellington, and initially it looked like the whole family was soon to be on the move.
It was weird at first, really, really surreal for me to have gone so far across the world, and that it was now real.
I had mixed emotions because talking about it was one thing, but it was now becoming reality that this was the path our life was taking.
Spaghetti.
Delays with paperwork meant an 11-month wait for the family's visas. When they eventually came through, though, Billy had to move extremely quickly.
I had 11 days from the minute my visa landed to me getting on a plane and leaving.
Less than 2 weeks later, Beth and the boys were waving Billy off at Glasgow Airport, not knowing for sure when they'd be together once more.
This was something we found Paul really, really struggled with. And I think it was because he didn't know when the next time was going to be that he would, see his dad again.
It was immensely hard saying goodbye to him. But again, we made a decision that we were going to keep it brief.
There was a lighter moment, however, when Beth's mum literally left Billy in stitches.
She likes her cuddles, does my mother-in-law. And when she gave me a hug, she was hugging me that tight that the back of my shirt split right down the seam. But I didn't notice it until I got here. I was wandering around airports all over the world with a ripped shirt.
Beth was now left alone to pack up the family's life in the UK.
Billy left me to sell the house, deal with the shipping container and 2 heartbroken boys, which was very difficult. Selling the house was heartbreaking. It was very difficult, very stressful, and lots of sleepless nights.
The fact that I left her to deal with finalising the house sale and getting the guys coordinated to put stuff into a container and then get flights for her and the boys, I'm immensely proud of the job she's done.
With the family house sold, Beth, Paul and Lucas moved in with Beth's mum. It was the beginning of a long period with the family split across the globe.
We came across Christmas, which was very, very difficult, but we did have Skype.
Beth and the boys finally touched down in Wellington in February 2014, but 4.5 months apart had an unexpected consequence.
The boys started shouting, "Daddy, Daddy!" And I'm like, "No, don't be silly, that's another man."
That's just another bald man. It's actually me.
The 2 of them are running and I'm like, no, that's not your dad. And they ran up and it was all very emotional.
You forgot what I looked like already.
Billy had found the family a rental home in New Zealand, but the rural setting meant a 2-hour round trip for him to get to work, meaning he was spending less time with the family.
It was too far from prison, and that had an impact on my daily routine with the kids.
The couple negotiated an early exit on their lease and are currently living with friends, but not for long.
Yesterday, we collected the keys to our new home.
We've got the new property just down the road, which is literally 5 minutes in the car to work. And the house is everything that we would want it to be. 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a cinema room. It's got everything it needs to have.
Nice view out the window.
It's a beautiful area, a beautiful street, and lots and lots of space. So I'm really looking forward to unpacking all our boxes now and making it a home for the boys.
The family's new home is in Upper Hutt, and today they're making a start on settling in.
Very careful.
It feels a bit crazy.
Feels amazing. The house is more than we thought it would be, and it feels really, really homely already, and we're getting next to nothing in.
It's a bit much to take in at the moment. It's such a big house, more than we ever dreamed or expected to be able to achieve. It's in a lovely area, it's got a beautiful garden and lots of windows to clean.
Bill is settled in well to his role at a nearby prison, but has already set his sights on moving up the ranks.
I'm currently a corrections officer, which is the first rung in the ladder. I've applied for a promotion to a senior corrections officer, where they look for a bit of experience, a bit of leadership.
And once Lucas starts school, Beth plans to find work too.
I would like to get a job in a flower shop because it's what I know, but I'm open. I'm quite flexible. I would try my hand at anything, I think.
A move had always been about a better lifestyle for Paul and Lucas, and so far New Zealand is delivering on all fronts.
We're spending just about every waking moment together.
Whereas before we would have just sat at home, stuck the telly on, or been on the computer. We're not doing that. We're getting out, exploring, going walking. The boys have taken up fishing.
Oh, is that the twitchy?
But the boys have mixed opinions on the climate.
I like living in New Zealand because it's nice and hot, and we never had that back in Scotland. But it's too windy and cold. Sometimes, Lucas, sometimes.
Arguments with his brother aside, nature-mad Paul's getting to spend much more time up close with wildlife.
Mom, look at me.
He's loving every minute of it. I think the biggest thing for him was discovering a sea lion colony of babies. And he was that taken by it, he was almost reduced to tears. It was one of the most magical moments for us as parents, watching his reaction. Oh, it's amazing. He's loving it.
We've seen some cicadas, we've seen some fish, we've seen crabs, we've seen starfish. Well, you know what I saw? It's all my own. I did saw.
Not quite sure that's one for the wildlife books, Lucas. Beth and Billy believe the country's outdoor lifestyle has helped the boys settle.
I think because we've been out and about and did so much exploring and going on so many adventures for them, I think that's helped greatly. And them becoming used to living here and calling this their home.
And Paul's seen a difference in Mum and Dad too.
My dad has gotten more daring so we can go down to the rocks and the beach with the swishy waves. And my mum is just the same, apart from her tan.
But there is something, or rather someone, everyone's missing from home.
I really miss my gran. I miss her yummy cooking.
Without a doubt they're missing Granny. Who wouldn't? She's a great person. And not physically having a hug off her has been difficult at times, particularly for the big fella.
I'm just missing seeing her. I know she's coming soon.
Beth's mum's already booked flights to visit the family for Christmas, and a more permanent move is on the cards too.
We've only got a few months until that time when she comes out, but the plan has always been that once we're in a position to be able to sponsor my mum to come out.
She'll be here. Built-in babysitter.
It will be a happy family. Again.
Apart from relatives and friends, the couple are also missing some home comforts.
Silly things like tea bags. I can't have a proper cup of tea. We got a pack of tea bags sent over and I had to share them all.
And I miss the school dinners.
Things like
a curry.
Yeah. If you go for a Chinese takeaway, it's completely different here. Plain bread and square sausage and brown sauce and a big mug of tea on a Sunday morning with a newspaper. That doesn't happen here.
So do the Fitzpatricks have any regrets?
There was times when I thought, is it really worth it? And the cost implication for visas and stuff was heavy. But now that I'm here, and even though I'm working longer hours, absolutely. Living the dream? Not quite, but I'm getting there.
In the future, I am hoping that we have a nice, happy life, and it all turns out well. My dad gets his promotion at work. My mum gets a really good job. We make lots of new friends, and we get into lots of after-school clubs.
My hopes for the future are living in a nice, eerie family beach house on the beach. And I think once I get that,
I'll be living the dream. And I'm sure the boys will be living the dream at that point. To anyone out there who's got doubts or fears, I had all of those doubts and fears, and I didn't want to come. But now that I've been out here and experienced the country and the people, I would recommend anyone to give it a go, because it's been beyond all my expectations. Their future, in my eyes, it is here now.
For me, also, the future's got to be here.
With Billy having successfully gained the promotion he applied for with the prison service, it looks like New Zealand will be providing the Fitzpatricks with a happy home for years to come. We wish them all the very best.
Helicopter heroes down under at 11:45 this morning, flying to help an injured photographer deep in the Australian bush. But next, there's money to be made on homes under the hammer.